DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health. At Merck Animal Health, we're shaping the future of animal health with pioneering science, connected technology, and insights-driven solutions to bring our customers an unparalleled portfolio of choices to improve cattle care and operational efficiency. We support you and your legacy by helping you meet the challenges of today with the innovations of tomorrow.
Hey folks, welcome to the show today. Dr. Dan Thomson here. Thanks for watching DocTalk. Today, Dr. AJ Tarpoff is going to be here, and we're going to talk about lice control in cattle, whether it's the cows or feeders. When we get to winter, we need to understand that it is time for us to make sure that we control lice in these herds. We don't want to have animals itching, we don't want to have the losses in production, and we don't want to have our fences torn down, so stay tuned.
Meet Vault, EverAg's all-in-one risk management platform built to bring clarity and confidence to every decision. With Vault on your mobile device, you get a fast, easy view of the numbers that matter most. Real-time percent hedged, P&L performance, current market data, and more. Vault is here for cattle producers, ready when you are. Download the app for iOS or Android today and take more control of your operations risk management.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. I'm here at Kansas State University, and we have Dr. AJ Tarpoff here on the show. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, always a pleasure to be here, Dan.
It's great to have you here. We have some tremendous faculty at Kansas State's Animal Science and Industry Department. Now, is it Animal Sciences and Industry or Animal Science and Industries?
Animal Sciences and Industry.
All right. I just cut them both off singular I was going to say it wrong one way or the other, but we got it. But y'all need to come to Kansas State and take a look and visit with the faculty and the students. We have a new department head and a lot of energy within the department. It's a lot of fun. We're going to talk about something that's kind of itchy.
Very itchy.
We're going to talk about lice.
Lice.
Yeah, so kind of start me off on how you would, when just describe to me the types of lice and what we're dealing with.
Okay, so in the big scheme of things, we have two different types of lice that affect our cattle. And I want to make one thing pretty clear, is lice, they are species specific. So if your cattle have lice, don't worry about your kids having lice going to school, okay? So they are very species specific. If your cattle have lice, it doesn't mean your horses are going to be affected or anything like that. So there are very specific cattle louse that affect our animals. Within the cattle lice species, we have two different types. We have a couple of species, about 4 species of sucking lice, and then we have one biting louse. Okay, and the difference between the two is one is actually they're blood feeders. So their head mouth pierces through the hide and they drink blood from our cows. The other one, they're biting lice and they feed on the surface, on the dead skin cells and things of that nature, but they feed on the surface of animals and they never actually puncture through the hide.
I'll be dang. So yeah, it's more like a tick then, or how long? I mean, do they lock on forever? Or do they take a meal and move, or?
No, so their lice spend their entire life cycle on animals. They have to be on cattle. They kind of go into a dormant state during the summer months, but they really thrive during the winter time. And so, of course, that's where we see most of our lice issues is during the winter months. Okay, so basically from December through February, March, of course, during calving season, that's where we see the vast majority of our lice issues, our infestations, and we see clinical effects of our lice.
Yeah, same way with feedlots too. We'll see them. We start pouring in the fall and the spring, but really it's a wintertime phenomenon, which a lot of people don't understand.
No, so we have a wintertime issue. Okay, animals that are already stressed succumb more to some of these lice issues. We can have anemia, we can have blood loss from those sucking lice. We can see decreases in average daily gain. Okay, up to 0.2 of a pound in a growing animal per day. We can have loss just from lice issues. So there's an enormous amount of loss that
that's a race of implant response.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. And the biggest thing to think about is due to these losses, just due to the parasite itself, our industry loses roughly $125 million a year just due to lice.
Oh boy.
And that doesn't have anything to do with some of the other losses that we'll talk about.
Cool. Well, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into lice and lice issues with Dr. A.J. Tarpoff here at Kansas State University. Hey folks, Dr. Dan here. Welcome to Cattle Intel by Neogen. You know, keeping records in your operation is vital. It's vital for your cattle health. It's vital for your financial success, and it's vital for the food safety of the animals and the beef that we produce. And so there's just different levels of record keeping that help improve the sustainability of your operation. And when I mean sustainability is staying in business, turning a profit, and being able to pass your operation down to the next generation. On the food safety side, make sure that you have proper records of when you've applied products. That way we ensure that we have no antimicrobial residues due to improper withdrawal times of cattle that you might ship. Records are important. There's great technology out there. Work with your university, work with your land-grant university to find the record system that fits your operation best. And this has been the Neogen Cattle Intel.
Are you a cattle feeder looking to manage for a stronger and more profitable set of cattle? Look no further than Igenity Feeder. Igenity Feeder utilizes DNA to gain insight into your cattle's genomic potential, with the information to predict performance, quality, and economic endpoints for cattle feeders. Animals are scored and ranked in a simple format, driving more precise and accurate management decisions. Igenity Feeder gives you the power to predict days on feed, manage variability within lots, characterize carcass performance, and focus on metrics important to you and your operation. With the data provided, you will identify superior animals earlier and maintain high operational efficiency. Maximize your profit and optimize performance with Igenity Feeder.
When the ones who have your heart need your help, count on us for everything they deserve, delivered fast. We'll work hard for you so you can work hard for your dreams.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan here with Dr. A.J. Tarpoff. We're over in Weber Hall in the Heritage Room where Dr. Tarpoff serves as our state beef veterinarian here in Kansas. And he's doing things not only in Kansas but beyond, and we're very, very thankful to have him on our faculty. Talk about the life cycle, because I think that it's important for people to understand where they come from and how they grow.
Yep. So we know that it's a winter issue, right? Now these animals, I mentioned they kind of stay dormant during the summer months, and that's true. So we have adults, the adult louse that will actually hide out in different areas around the ears, maybe around the eyes, but they really don't like hot weather. Okay, so they kind of go into this dormant state. Now once the cooler weather starts, that's where they really jumpstart their reproductive cycles. Now, the stages, we have eggs, egg laying, and we call them nits. You know, if you ever seen, National Geographic, some of the species will pick little nit pickers.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are eggs. And the eggs are laid actually on hair follicles themselves, and they almost use a type of glue that sticks to them. So those are the nits, those are the eggs. Eggs will hatch, and they turn into a nymph, which a nymph is basically just a very small adult. That's what they look like. And then again, they molt into an adult. So those are the kind of three stages of the lice life cycle. And depending on the species, because we do have some different type of cattle lice, the life cycle takes from egg to egg, so to speak, can take about 28 to 30 days.
Okay, so being hatched to laying eggs on its own about 28 to 30
Yep.
days.
So 3 weeks to a month.
I never knew about that nit. If you're nitpicky, I get it.
Picking on the little nits. Yep.
Well, I know some nitpickers, but anyway, I'm not one of them. Now, when we think about lice and obviously the nits and different things, what are some of the damages that these cause? I mean, obviously, we talked about the decrease in performance, but what are some of the clinical signs or things we can see?
Okay, itchy cattle. That's kind of the number one thing that we see. But from afar, what can we see? When we get up close, we might see some hair patch loss, okay? Rubbed off from fences, buildings, posts, trees. So you'll be driving along out to go check your cattle, and you come up to your fence, and you see all these chunks of hair sticking along the fence line and the barbed wire. It's like, why are cattle rubbing up against those fences? When we see those animals, we can see patchy hair loss on the neck, on the shoulders, on the rump, and that's where they're itchy. Okay, those lice themselves actually cause irritation to the skin, where the cattle get uncomfortable, they start to itch, they start to rub, and unfortunately that's one of our biggest economic impacts, not just due to average daily gain loss and decrease in milk production, but also to the damage of our own facilities. It's hard to quantify how much damage that is, but we all know how expensive it is to put up new stretches of barbed wire. But our facilities are a major cost, and lousy cattle really cause an issue.
When you pull into the feed yard, and if you just stop in the winter and just kind of zone out and don't focus on anything, just look across the yard, and all of a sudden you say, holy moly, everything's up against the fence, rubbing. It's pretty obvious that we need to have a talk about lice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Folks, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to start talking about, I assume we're going to start talking about how we're going to take care of this.
We can try to combat these problems and combat these parasites the best we can.
Cool. This is the guy. Hope y'all are enjoying this show. More with Dr. AJ Tarpoff after these messages.
Success in the cattle business hinges on a lot of different people playing their part. From the vet to the cowboy and the nutritionist to the feed truck driver, you rely on them to get their job done right, and so do your cattle. Your expectations for the vaccines you use should be no different. Bimeta's cattle vaccines were developed and are made and sold by men and women in the cattle business. No smoke and mirrors, just real-world protection that you can rely on. Go to bimetabiologicals.com to learn more.
In the livestock industry, castration is a common practice to ensure proper herd management. All methods are painful, regardless of the age of the animal. At Solvit, we could not ignore the clear industry need for better castration solutions. So we developed Lidoband, a novel lidocaine-impregnated elastrator, addressing the pain associated with band castration. It provides local anesthesia throughout the castration process. Lidoband, a small device that can make a big difference.
Stressors that trigger bovine respiratory disease are all around. So when you spot BRD in your herd, turn to Zuprevo, the fast that lasts. Zuprevo is rapidly absorbed in as little as 45 minutes and lasts up to 28 days. Because in the race against BRD, you need to win. Ready, set, Zuprevo. In case of human injection, seek immediate medical advice. For use in beef and non-lactating dairy cattle only. For prescribing information, talk to your veterinarian or visit Zuprevo.com.
When the ones who have your heart need your help, count on us for everything they deserve, delivered fast. We'll work hard for you so you can work hard for your dreams.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. AJ Tarpoff, who serves as our state beef veterinarian and is doing a ton in the state. And we're very, very proud to have him here. There's an economics associated with everything that we do. So when it comes to lice, how do you kind of balance that?
Okay, so the general recommendation is, okay, when do we start losing money? When do these animals need to be treated? Obviously, by the time that we look at these animals and they have patchy hair loss, they're busting down our fences, we're a little bit behind the 8 ball. One way to assess what kind of infestation do we have on our cows before it gets that bad is we can actually part the hair. We can run the animal into a catch chute, into a squeeze. We can part the hair on maybe the neck, the withers, the rump, and part the hair, and actually we can see the little lice. They're about the size of a grain of sand. We can see them scurrying around. And if there's roughly 10 lice per square inch, they definitely need to be treated.
Gotcha. So then once we have that, now we say, okay, we've got a problem. What are, let's talk about the cows first. What do I do?
Okay, so there's a lot of operations and that may end up using a dewormer type product in the fall during preg check, after summer grazing to clean up some of the internal parasites after that summer grazing. Most of those products that are used are actually an insecticide, a macrocytic lactone. Okay, these would be our avermectins, ivermectin, dormectin, cydectin. There's a lot of those different products that are out there and available. So those products kill lice.
Right.
Okay, pour-on formulations do work against external, both the external parasites and internals. But in lice, remember we have blood-sucking lice and then ones that just feed on the surface. If you use an injectable dewormer, okay, in the fall, it will not have coverage against those biting lice that only feed on the surface.
Oh, so the injectable is just going to get the sucking lice, but the pour-ons will get both.
Correct. Now, where we run into problems is we usually use these products early in the season, right? That we're trying to deworm and get the added benefit of some of these external parasites. We do it earlier in the fall, okay? But when do we see our lice issues?
Yeah, deep in the winter.
Deep in the winter. Okay, now deep in the winter, we have different types of products that are locally acting. They're not systemic, okay, but they work directly against those lice. They're very similar products to what we use for fly control, okay, but we can use those in the dead of winter to get some really good outcomes to really control those species when it matters most.
Gotcha. So when we do the things in the fall, there's probably, if you have lice or if you've had lice issues, you probably need to be working with your veterinarian and looking at a secondary lice treatment or some way of applying it to those cattle as you go.
And have a plan in place, okay? Plan ahead, work with your veterinarian to have that discussion so you're prepared to handle some of these lice issues when they occur.
Yep, and there's tons of products. Cool. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up our segment on lice with Dr. A.J. Tarpoff here at Kansas State University.
Time is money on the farm, and your cows are less productive when they're stressed. The Alertus on-farm test from IDEXX allows you to quickly test cowside and identify open or pregnant cows within minutes on your schedule in the parlor, barn, or chute. It's more efficient for your farm, very simple to use, and puts you in control. With minimal training and reliable, fast results, sample-based pregnancy testing is better for beef and dairy producers. Learn more at idexx.com/DocTalk.
When you spot BRD in your cattle, that's your golden opportunity to target infection and its associated fever with a single dose of Resflor Gold, the industry standard dual therapy. To learn more, talk to your Merck Animal Health rep or your vet and see label at resflorgold.com. Animals intended for human consumption must not be slaughtered within 38 days of treatment. This product is not approved for use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, including dry dairy cows.
It's the crews, cattle, and accolades that keep you striving for the best that's ever been. It's more than a banner or a great calf crop. It's everything you deserve. And for that, we're here with all you need. valleyvet.com.
Welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. A.J. Tarpoff. We're talking about lice and lice control in your cow herd. And so there's quite a few different products, right? And what you use and how you use it are important.
So this is where we're using these products as an investment in our animals, okay? Any type of investment, I want to make sure it gets done right. And that goes with any type of investment. And it's no different with lice treatment, okay? I mentioned that most of our lice treatments that we use when we have an outbreak, these are topical products that only work on the surface. These are not systemic. So we do have to get proper coverage on these animals. And this is where I see most of the problems of reinfestation and things like that is misapplication of some of these lice products.
Right.
So read your product label, but most of our product labels actually have the administration from the pole all the way down to the tailhead. Okay. And some of these pour-on type products or spot-ons are very low dose. So one thing that I really try to get producers to do, feedlot cowboys, whoever's applying these products, split your dose. If it is one of the low volume, low dosage type products, they're very concentrated, split that dose into two. So then you can take your dosing gun applicator and you can have one application from the pole, the back of the head, down through the withers. You can refill the barrel and then you go the rest of the way. So
that's a great idea.
It really helps spread that product over the entire animal. We get full coverage of the animal where we really get a good kill on the adults, the actually adult lice, and that's what those products work against.
Yeah, I see people that have issues in their cows, and they'll say, "Well, I put it on twice already, and it didn't do anything." And you're like, "Well, yeah," and you go and they just spray it between the withers, like they're putting like on dogs, you know, for the flea and tick.
Right.
And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. You got to get good coverage across that animal's back.
Just keep in mind that the majority of these products that we use are pyrethrins, the spot-ons that are very concentrated, very low dose. They're not systemic products, okay? So they don't soak into the bloodstream. That they really work on contact, and they have to come in physical contact with those lice. So that's what we're after: full coverage of the animal. But also keep in mind that depending on the product that you're using, may need a retreatment in 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, yep. These topical products, these locally acting that work by contact, they only work on the adults. Okay, they don't work on those nits. So we wait for 2 to 3 weeks for those nits to hatch into an nymph or an adult, and then we can actually clean them up secondary with that secondary hit. Okay.
And if you're going to bring another animal into your herd,
we can't forget about biosecurity. If you're going to treat for lice, treat every single animal in the herd. This happens every day, but we might, the bull, we were having trouble getting that bull in, so we just left him out in the pasture. He didn't get his dose. One animal can reinfest the entire herd in a relatively short amount of time. This can be a new arrival. If you just bought a group of replacement heifers or things of that nature, make sure you treat those. You put them under quarantine, so to speak, so they're all clear before you introduce them to your animals. Yeah.
Great information, folks. And again, very thankful for you being on the show.
Always a pleasure, Dan.
Thank you. And thanks for watching DocTalk. Remember, always work with your local veterinarian. And if you want to know more about what we do on DocTalk, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson here at Kansas State University with Dr. AJ Tarpoff, and we'll see you down the road.
Merck Animal Health is the global animal health business of Merck. Through its commitment to the science of healthier animals, Merck Animal Health offers veterinarians, farmers, pet owners, and governments one of the widest ranges of veterinary pharmaceuticals, vaccines, and health management solutions and services, as well as an extensive suite of connected technology that includes identification, traceability, and monitoring products. Merck Animal Health is dedicated to preserving and improving the health, well-being, and performance of animals and the people who care for them. Merck Animal Health is present in more than 50 countries, while its products are available in some 150 markets.
In the livestock industry, castration is a common practice to ensure proper herd management. All methods are painful, regardless of the age of the animal. At Solvit, we could not ignore the clear industry need for better castration solutions. So we developed LidoBand, a novel lidocaine-impregnated elastrator, addressing the pain associated with band castration. It provides local anesthesia throughout the castration process. LidoBand, a small device that can make a big difference.
We are a start-to-finish yard. Bring them in at 500 pounds and finish them out to 14 to 1,500 pounds. Max capacity is about 15,000. We begin with the end in mind, which that means it starts from day one coming off the truck. The most stressful part of the life cycle of a calf is the ride here, whether it's a 2-hour ride or it's a 24-hour ride. I mean, we kind of treat everything like the higher risk cattle. We always have somebody right there at the loadout, pinning cattle, getting counts on cattle. It's just consistently doing the little things right, whether it's clean water, fresh feed, clean pen, clean bunk apron. We try to do the little things right, whether it's from low stress cattle handling, animal welfare, how we work with the cattle every single day. You know, that's something we really focus on. Our cowboys work directly with our veterinarians. You know, and our guys, they do a great job give them a few days to kind of acclimate, settle down a little bit. That gives us a period what we know what we're working with and how we're going to handle them at the chute when we come to process them. We don't process till day 10, 14 or so, and we found better luck with that just because we know what we're working with. And it seems like if they're going to fall apart on you or start having some BRD issues, you'll find it within that 10 to 14 day period. And Mother Nature, as we know, it can throw a curveball at us anytime, so you never want to get comfortable. And we're using a stimulator now for a vaccine, and they don't go through a harsh sweat or anything. Blends, mix is really nice. Cattle look great afterwards, and every day is a challenge. But it's nice knowing that we can rely on a good vaccine, kind of protect us against what Mother Nature or any stressors that they throw at us. This industry, it takes everybody, whether it's working with the nutritionist, it's cowboys working with the veterinarians. Everybody plays a part, and we expect them to do their jobs, but also we expect the drugs or what we put into the cattle to do their job too. And I think these Bimeda products, they're proving that they're doing the job for us.